This is our showroom, so vehicles that are coming in that are completely stock, like the 458 Ferrari Spider is getting a twin turbo system, so it'll sit here until it's time for the go back in the workshop for the guys to start on it. Cadillac Cts-V Coupe from Cadillac, and this is our VR 1200, so it's a complete wide body, upgraded brakes, suspension, 1,200 horsepower, twin turbo V8, 7 liter. This particular car went 220 miles an hour on a Texas toll road, the new 85 mile per hour SH-130 toll road. This car would run probably 205 in the standing mile. That's what people come to us for. They want boutique-y. They don't want just something that has a cool badge or some carbon fiber. We build performance. So
it must be great fun to take on a project like that.
Absolutely.
I guess you've got some more cool stuff in there.
Come on out to the workshop. Shipping and receiving department, parts department. We sell a lot of parts via mail order, whether it's Cadillac, Camaro, Ford Raptor, a lot of Dodge SRT, the new Hemi 6.4 liter. And so a guy can be in Florida, or he can be in China and buy a part from us, and we'll ship it.
So it's a worldwide, completely
worldwide business. Yep. Hennessey Performance bread and butter day-to-day business is making fast cars go faster. Cars, trucks, SUVs. We're primarily known for American and American muscle, but we basically upgrade cars that we like. We build and complete 5 to 8 cars per week.
Wow.
So I think of all makes and models, and they're primarily newer cars that were built within the last, say, 5 years. So we built delivered 350 cars roughly last year, and out of that, maybe a third of those were somebody came to us and said, hey, look, I want a VR 1200 Cadillac Coupe, so we hook them up with the dealer, they buy the car from the dealer, and we upgrade it. The other 2/3 already have the car, and they've had the car for 2 weeks, they've had the car for 2 months, 2 years, and it's kind of cool when you get a guy that's got, let's say, a Z06 Corvette or a Camaro that's a couple years old, and he says, I've had this car, I'm thinking about maybe getting the newer car, but I'd rather, if I spend, $15,000, $20,000, I'd rather do that and have it kind of my own.
It's what they'll lose on trade-in, or they can get.
Versus just going and getting the brand new and then having one like everybody else. We try to go to great lengths to do it right. People can spend their money on a whole lot of different toys, on a whole lot of different things, and nobody really needs what we do. Thankfully, they come to us and give us the opportunity to give them some more performance and then put a smile on their face.
Talking of smiles,
the Venom GT is a car that we wanted to build, that I wanted to build, to where we could offer maximum performance. And we felt like we could offer maximum performance by delivering big American muscle horsepower in a lightweight package that could put the power down to the ground. We looked around one day, we were just joking about, well, what if we took like a Lotus Exige and yanked the motor out of the back and threw a twin turbo V10 Viper engine in the back, and laughed about it and joked about it. And I asked the guy to do some renderings, and when he drew it up, and then I thought, I like that car, I think maybe we could build that car. And then I made the big mistake of just letting it get out on the internet. And a guy from the Middle East saw it and says, well, I want that car. I'm like, okay, all right, now what do we do? And so basically from that moment in time to our first prototype and first production car was about a year and a half, just under 2 years. You look at the other cars that are out that are in the supercar, hypercar realm, awesome cars. 12C, Aventador, Veyron, Pagani, Koenigsegg, 177. At the end of the day, this car's lighter than all of them. Now, how do we get to be so much lighter? Well, everything's carbon fiber. We started with a light car to begin with. I don't want to reinvent the daggum wheel. I just want to make it go faster, okay? And so everything from behind the seats is all new. Chassis, engine powertrain, cooling system.
So it's this big subframe cradle at the engine.
There's nothing that you see on the car that isn't there for a reason.
So what are the basic headline stats?
Okay,
Power,
the numbers
weight.
are 1,244 brake horsepower, 1,244 kilograms of weight. Wow. It's 1 brake horsepower per kilo of curb weight. That's full of fluids, that's full of gas, no driver. It's like an F40 Ferrari times 2.5. But when you have the top open, and just the visceral fuel is that much greater, in my opinion.
Holy moly, look at that.
So there it is. So kind of like business up front, party in the back, or vice versa. 67 millimeter precision turbos, feeding into an air-to-water intercoolers. These are the charged coolers. The actual heat exchangers is up in the nose, where the original Lotus radiator would fit, and the charge air gets cooled into the bullet intercoolers, makes this 180 turn, merges together in the carbon fiber piece of the throttle body into the intake manifold, and then feeding through CNC ported aluminum cylinder heads, and then a 7-liter engine block.
So it's all bespoke block, like the only common thing with a factory engine is the bore sensors, I guess.
If you had a problem with your alternator, you could get a new alternator from the Chevrolet dealer. It's the same alternator you get on a Corvette. But nothing else here is something that you're going to find in any engine package anywhere else. So everything else is all custom, is bespoke. It's all built here.
It's all about the top speed. What?
From a manufacturer standpoint, I want to say I've got the fastest car in the world. And I do believe I have the fastest car in the world. And for some owners, they're going to want to brag to their rich guy buddies at the cocktail party, I've got the fastest car in the world, and that's cool. I mean, if somebody wants to buy a car from me for that very reason, I'll be glad to sell them one.
So what do you think this will do? Because you've obviously not managed to test its full VMAX yet. But...
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, the computer model says 272. I think something north of that. I think maybe in the 275 to 280 range at the current power setting, and that speed sounds extraordinary, but you've built cars that have done 260 miles an hour in a standing mile, haven't you? So that blows my mind. That kind of speed. I mean, by comparison, we've already proven that we can go from 0 to 200 in 14.5 seconds. At 230, we've gone up to 230 miles an hour. At that speed, we're accelerating at the rate of 10 miles per hour per second.
We won't go that fast today, but no. Take it out on the road, I think.
Sounds good.
Good. Holy. All right, here we go. So we're out on the public road in what we proved is the fastest accelerating supercar on the planet. And I have to say, driving it on a bumpy concrete road and just pootling along at 30-40 miles an hour is possibly a bigger challenge for a 1245 horsepower car than nailing it down a runway, because it needs to function. So yeah, the car uses a Gt Gearbox, which was designed and manufactured by Ricardo in the UK. It always felt brilliant in the Ford GT, and it's just very sweet and precise to use. You'd never guess that it's got to deal with the kind of power and torque that incredible engine behind it produces. The clutch, it has to be said, is pretty hefty and heavy, but it's smooth and the travel isn't too short and spiky, so you can actually drive it slowly with real, it's easy, you don't have to think about it. Other things that are unique to this car versus the sort of Lotus underpinnings, they've fitted electric power steering to it, which is essential when you've got rubber the size that you have on this car, and again, it feels really, really good. And Lotus themselves always try to steer clear of power steering because it corrupts the feel, but again, you can maybe see from just the way the car reacts, it's very clean, clear, feels some direct steering, so that again, it, like the gear shift, like the clutch, it connects you with the car straight away. It might have familiar surroundings and resonate with anyone who's been in a Lotus, but the whole overall experience it's really incredible actually, and already you're just itching to feel some of the performance, but it's so smooth. There's no steps, no awkwardness until it's really on boost, so it's very refined in the way it delivers ordinary everyday driving. When I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be a car just designed to go like the clappers in a straight line. Okay, so we're in second gear, we're on quite a narrow but straight road, doing 30 miles an hour. Let's see what happens. Holy! know what to say after that. That's such an angry car. You can't conceive what it punches you down the road like. That is quite extraordinary. I can't even begin to tell you how fast we were going there. That is so addictive. From top to tail, it's been properly thought out and properly executed. And now, you know, we've gone from super silly, can't tell you speed, to just tickling along at 50 or 60. And it's really, just dead easy to drive. It's a pussycat to drive, and then it's an absolute monster, eat you alive monster when you're on the power. Okay, so we'll calm things down a little bit. What else stands out about this car? The brakes are really spectacularly good. They're carbon ceramics, they're Brembos. I wasn't sure whether they would be massively powerful, but only really good if you hit them hard. But again, like the steering, like the damping, like the gearbox and the clutch, there's real finesse to the way they've been set up and the way they've been honed. So they're smooth and easy to use. And that, again, to be a proper driver's car, all those dots need to be joined up, and there's no room for a weak link. Now, I'd never been to Texas before. You come here and it's a massive place. The roads are very fast in places and very straight, but you often find with these sorts of cars they're a product of the environment they're built within. And coming out into the country here, the roads are quite twisty, the surfaces aren't great, they're quite coarse and bumpy. And this is Hennessey's backyard. This is where they've done a lot of the development work, and you can feel it. You know, the car's firm, but it's got pliancy and control. Because it's based on a Lotus, although it's wider and longer, it still feels quite wieldy and nimble. So it's, you know, in a lot more respects than I ever thought it would be. It's directly comparable to a European supercar like a Carrera GT, which is one of my favourite supercars. This has all those same points of connection and the real excitement that gets you in the gut, but it's got 2.5 times the power and way more performance, so it's in a different league from something like a Carrera GT in that respect. It's a proper driver's car, and for that I take my hat off to John Hennessey and the guys, because if I'm honest, it's way better than I ever thought it would be, and it's a really nice thing to say, because it's a 24 carat supercar, and if there's any chance that we can drive this with a Pagani or a 177 or a Koenigsegg, I think it would acquit itself really well. There's nothing else on earth that goes like this. It makes Veyrons feel sluggish. Really cool car.